It's been about 6 months since some of these guys showed up, so join me with the tasty beverage of your choice close to hand while we take a look at 10 Hoyas then and now. And with 10 Hoyas to talk about, let's get right to it. First Hoya up is this Hoya acicularis. It's a really pretty plant with beautiful, beautiful, thin, narrow leaves. Now this is not my first try with acicularis. The first one, well, it got promoted to compost. It just didn't make it. But this next one I paid a little bit more attention to and tried to make sure it had all the moisture and light it could want. And it's put out pretty much that much new growth. So yeah, we're happy with this one. It's a really, really pretty plant. The leaves are, I think these long, thin leaves are just amazing. So, yeah, this is a fun one. This is Hoya acicularis. And the next one up today is this Hoya species Indonesia. I got this as a thank you cutting with a purchase I made from an online vendor and had never really heard of it. But I think the leaves are just beautiful, wonderful and glossy with a little bit of splash. And you may see some sulfur on some of these today. That's just how it goes. And it came as this little 2-node cutting, and so it's put out a nice vine. It's been growing fairly well. It hasn't done anything amazing yet, but then it hasn't disappointed me either. So this is the latest leaf. It's just hardening off, and it's got some beautiful splash in there. So yeah, this looks kind of cool. I can't wait to see what else it does in the next few months. So this is Hoya species Indonesia. Next Hoya, I featured just a couple weeks ago. This is Hoya spectatissima, and I featured it in one of my videos about plants that were blooming because after only about 6 months, it put out blooms for the first time. And I'll put some pretty pictures over here to remind us all how really cool they were. It's a beautiful little plant. It's native to Yunnan, China. And it reminds me a bit of Hoya Lee. It's a bit fuzzier than Hoya Lee. The leaves at this point seem a little bit smaller. They've still got the same characteristics of texture and things like that. But for only being here 6 months and putting out a couple big, beautiful blooms, that's very cool. There's now 1, 2, I saw it 3, 4, 5. There's 5 peduncles on this, 6 peduncles on this plant. So I'm very pleased with the results of it. I ordered it because the blooms were supposed to be beautiful, and boy, they did not let me down. So this is, I recommend this one. This was very cool. For great blooms in 6 months, yes, thumbs up. This is Hoya spectatissima. this next Hoya came to me as part of that whole Lai Chau purchase I made a few months ago. I had seen Miro showing off his Lai Chau, and so I went and searched for them, and I found Lai Chau roundleaf, Lai Chau longleaf, and species Lai Chang forest. And I wasn't exactly sure which one he had gotten, so of course I did the logical thing and ordered all three. The Lai Chau, the longleaf and the roundleaf, put out some absolutely beautiful leaves. That's just, I mean, that's really, really cool. This one is growing pretty well. It came, I think it was 2 leaves and maybe 3 leaves. And since then has put out a beautiful vine. It's doing really well. There's a new leaf over here. I love the splash. I love the texture. Both the Lai Chau roundleaf and the longleaf are absolutely stunning. Beautiful, beautiful plants. They haven't given me any trouble, no problems, no issues. So yeah, this is a really cool plant. Glad I ordered it. Glad it showed up in good condition, and hasn't let me down yet. So this is Hoya species Lai Chau longleaf. And my next Hoya is Hoya lockii. I've started to investigate thin-leafed Hoyas lately, and saw the pictures of the blooms and thought, that's really pretty. So I ordered one, and man, it did not let me down. Those leaves are just beautiful. They have a little bit of an undulate edge and a little bit of splash, and I've got peduncles showing up there. Let's see if I can help it along. Now it's blasted a few of the buds, so I'm hoping it will bloom before it blasts the rest. But there are peduncles now on the top 3 nodes, and I'm hoping that pattern continues. This, once it settled in, I don't remember what it came in, what substrate. Once it settled in, it just started putting out growth. It just started growing, and it really hasn't stopped at all. Now that I think about it, and I've got another little fun peduncle right there. Might need some help. There you go. So this has been so far a very good grower, beautiful thin leaves, and I can't wait to see the buds. I can't wait to see the blossoms. I'm not disappointed in this one, so my only concern is how tall it's going to go, because my multiflora is almost 3 feet tall now, and it's just loaded with buds. It's just constantly blooming and blasting and blooming and blasting, because that's what multiflora does. But this one's been fun so far. When it blooms, I'll be sure to save some pictures for you. But this has been a really good plant. I'm glad I got this. And to have buds within 6 months, that's very cool. So this is Hoya lockii. this next plant. When I ordered it, I didn't know if I was ready for this plant. And I still don't know if I'm ready for it. But I was feeling adventurous, and I found one in my price range. Granted, the upper end of my price range, but it was enough to make me take the risk, take the chance. This is Hoya undulata. And I think what sold me were these leaves. The two original leaves are just beautiful. It's a little slow, or perhaps it's better to say it's a little bit slower than I would like. But it has pushed out two very large, very beautiful leaves. And, you know, compared to the others, that's almost twice as large. So, okay, little by little, step by step, they're both showing the undulate edges that gives this plant its name. Yeah, this is the first time I've ever tried to grow undulata. So we're going to see what happens. But so far, I mean, granted, of course, I would love more leaves than just two new ones, but they're big and they grew and it didn't die. So yeah, I'm going to be happy with all of that. This is Hoya undulata. Now this next one, it's been out and available for a really long time, and I just didn't get it. I didn't get the hype. And I wasn't about to pay the prices that people were paying and charging for this plant. But when the price came down and I thought, you know, I don't have any plants that could be called silver or mint. That's the other popular name now. Call something mint and the price at least doubles. So I put it off and I put it off and I ordered one. And it came, it looked okay, but it seemed to have some kind of, it was either scale or scarring on some of the leaves. And I just was very wary about it, about bringing it in with the rest of the kids. So I put it aside and I've kind of like, it's still alive. I don't know why. It's still alive. And I thought, you know, I just want one that's healthy. So I found another one. And this is Hoya nicholsoniae New Guinea Ghost. And I may not have gotten it before the plant arrived. But when it did, I absolutely got it. I mean, yes, those are just beautiful leaves. And this one, it came as pretty much a little 4-leaf cutting. It's done really well. This is pretty much all new growth. It's putting out leaves regularly. It hasn't given me any issues. So, yeah, I get what all the hype was about. It's really, really, it's very pretty, like the color, and it's growing really well for me, so I don't have any complaints at all. On the underside of the leaves, I mean, that's very cool too. Yeah, I wish the first one had done this well, but okay. You know, there are a number of plants I've bought a couple times because, well, essentially it was operator error, but you know, that happens. So this is Hoya nicholsoniae New Guinea Ghost. This next plant has far exceeded any expectations I may have had when I first ordered it. It's now moved into that group of Hoyas that I refer to as the wild boys. That's Brahmanica, that's Pandurata, that's Lithophytica, one you're going to see a little bit later on, and this one. This is Hoya chinghungensis. And this is what it has done in 6 months. The leaves are just beautiful. You'll probably see some sulfur on them, but man, they are just very cool. I'm very, very thrilled with the way this is going. It is creating something of a problem because it's now a big plant. I mean, so I got to find a better spot for it. But I can't argue with it. The leaves are absolutely beautiful. And where is it? Where is it? There's at least one peduncle on here that I saw. See if I can find it. Oh, there it is. Okay. So there's one peduncle. And this is all approximately 6 months growth. There's another peduncle down there. Oh, and there's one over here. Oh, that's very cool. This seems to be a tough little plant. It does want moisture. Yeah, this is one you don't let dry out. I've got it in, as you can see, a self-watering pot. Oh, yeah, another one. And when it gets a little too dry, it slows right down. And I can kind of look at it and go, something's wrong. You gotta look and go, something's up. Okay, let's check the water and give it a good drink. Make sure it's got the reservoir full. And man, it's just done really, really well. I can't wait to see what the blooms look like. I mean, I could go look them up online, but I want to see the blooms on my plant. This started growing, I don't remember what it came in, what substrate. No, I don't remember. But I settled it into a pond and self-watering because I knew beforehand that it was a thirsty puppy. So I took that into consideration. And it just started growing. It started with this vine, this major one, which has branched, sent out another one which has branched. This came next. Yeah, this is just fun. As long as you keep in mind that it's thirsty and you don't let this one dry out, ideally, but I can tell you that has happened. Not dry out, but the reservoir's been empty. This is so much fun. It has not disappointed. The leaves are very cool. Glad I bought this one. This is Hoya chinghungensis. And the next one up is this cute little Hoya microstemma. You always want your plants to grow more. However much they grow, you want them to grow more than that. So I have to keep that in mind that, perhaps I have unrealistic expectations. But then I grow plants, so I have unrealistic expectations. This is a very cute little plant. It's the leaves are fairly simple, but they're rather pretty. And The new leaves have gotten markedly larger, probably because I'm giving it good light. I don't let this one dry out either. Yep, there's water, plenty. So this, I think those were the last of the original leaves right here, these two. So this is all new, and this other vine is all new. It lives on the side of one of my grow shelves. Not far, it's just like if this was the grow bulb, it's hanging like over here. So not too far off, and it's just doing pretty well. Yeah, there's a little bit of sun stressing on the edge, so it's probably a little closer to the light than it would like to be, but and then those grow shelves, beggars can't be choosers, so. But I'm pleased with the growth. This has been rather cool. I'd like to see what comes next. I'd love to see blooms, because you know how we Hoya people are. This is Hoya microstemma. And the last one we're going to check in with today is another one of the wild boys. This is Hoya insularis. And it has exceeded any expectations I may have had about this plant. Number one, the leaves are just staggering. I mean, I mentioned with acicularis that I love these long, thin leaves. Yeah, these are very cool. I mean, that's what, 4 inches? Yeah, each one 4 inches long. Now it came as a very small cutting. It's put out 2 or 3 new vines, plenty of leaves. It grows like crazy. I mean, I say, grown like a weed frequently, but man, this is just very cool. There's a peduncle here, which looks just insanely delicate. And there's a peduncle here, which looks equally delicate. And somewhere on here, there were buds. I hope I didn't knock them off. And the blooms on insularis are just amazing. They come out and turn back around and form a circle and are just amazing. I probably knocked them all off in moving this thing around. Well, that's a shame, but it's got peduncles. It's growing really, really well. This one has a little bit of sun stressing on it, so the leaves have slightly purple edges and decidedly purple undersides. I don't know if I can get that. I can turn that without breaking it, which I don't want to do. It's a beautiful plant. It has grown like crazy. It's grown like a weed. It's grown like crazy. I'm considering trellising it just because of how much that's a long vine. And to have it just floating out from the plant shelves, I don't know, seems a little dangerous. But I'm thrilled with this. This plant has done really well. It's the growth. It just grew. It just grew from day one. It hasn't given me any issues. The leaves are really cool. It's very, very lacy. It almost reminds you of retusa, or reminds me of retusa. But whereas retusa leaves are maybe, 1, maybe 2 inches long, these are 4 or 5. This has been a really cool plant. I am very glad I have it. And in terms of something that's going to grow, yeah, this is Hoya insularis. And I'd like to thank you for choosing to spend a little bit of your time with me this week's end. Remember to click the thumbs up like button and the subscribe button. They're both really important. They affect the algorithm so my channel gets recommended to other people. Thank you for all your comments. I try and respond to each and every one of them. So I do appreciate that. That also helps affect the algorithm with interaction. Viewer interaction, I think is what they call it. I'm going to post links to a couple more videos over here, videos that you might enjoy, and enjoy the rest of your week's end.